Nothing like a classic Bud Light. Wow, that hits different. Let's see what the next one brings. Damn, that shit fucked me up, bro. This third one's gonna really be something else.
Dude, you gotta stop texting me off your watch. I never know what you're saying. You texted me and said, bring some queer. I'm assuming you meant beer, but just in case, I brought Jalen.
Dude, I'm not gay.
What? Yes, you are.
No, you guys always joke around about this. I'm literally not gay.
Well, then I don't need you.
I rode with you. What am I supposed to do?
Oh, my God. Will you answer the door?
Ridiculous.
I got Jalen back over here. He texted me, said he's finally coming out tonight.
Dude, for the 100th time, I'm not gay.
Then why would you text me and say you're finally coming out?
Because we're going out tonight. We're going to the bar and getting drinks.
Oh, my God, dude, are you sure you're not gay?
Dude, yes.
Apparently he's still straight. So if you want to come out with us, come on. Dude, I'm kidding. That wasn't even a good...
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about Bud Light once again and the most successful boycott in, I guess, conservative history. Now, again, a lot of people say this is not really a conservative boycott. This is a boycott among real men and women standing up to woke corporate America, trying to push a radical agenda down our throat, which is exactly what Bud Light tried to do when they decided to sponsor a transgender TikToker that a lot of people see as a symbol of the radical left-wing agenda that is being pushed in this country. And things are not going well for Bud Light when it comes to sales.
Obvious question, where did they fall the most?
In the mountain area, the Rocky Mountain area, where they're down 29%. But look at this. The entire country down double digits, including an 18% decline in California, Oregon, and Washington State, and 14% in our parts. This is a major backlash.
But if you look at that map,
Yeah.
there's no relationship to Democrat or Republican states.
No, it's all down.
Bud Light sales are down everywhere,
And
regardless of politics.
It's not just Bud Light. It's Anheuser-Busch's other beer brands that are getting caught up in this too, like Bud Regular, Bud Heavy. Those sales are down. Natty Ice, down. HSBC downgraded the stock. They says this marketing blunder is a crisis and the problems are deeper than they're admitting.
It's bad, especially in the South and in the Midwest, but really everywhere it had some kind of negative effect. I would say the right word would be dismayed, furious, confused, and they want more action out of AB. And so far, they're not satisfied with what AB has done so far.
And the reason they're not satisfied is the sales continue to plummet. The last week for which we have numbers, Bud Light sales down 21% again. Coors Light and Miller Lite, the competitors, up 20 and 20+%. That said, Mr. Varney, I leave you with the final numbers on Bud Light sales. It remains the best-selling beer in America. Bud Light sales last week, 73 million in sales. Michelob Ultra second, Coors Light and Miller Lite third and fourth on the list.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Bud Light sales are down across the country, okay? And there's no real correlation in regards to conservative states versus liberal states, which really goes to show you that there are really no liberal states, right? They're just liberal cities, okay? Because most states, right, I would tend to believe geographically that they're conservative, but all the liberals want to pile into cities, okay? Which, again, is basically, you know, why this country is a train wreck, is because we have these liberal cities driving the direction of this country, okay? And we would probably be much worse off if it wasn't for the foresight of the founding fathers establishing a system like the Electoral College to help mitigate these big blue cities being able to just, again, control everything. Those were amazing men. They don't get enough credit for their foresight. Anyways, as you can see here, Bud Light, their sales are suffering all over the country, okay? And I can imagine that the CEO is probably having a hard time sleeping at night. But it's not just him. It's actually apparently the influencer that they sponsored that led to all this, who's also having a hard time sleeping at night.
Pleaser. Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Okay, for anyone that's watching or listening, Skylar came in and immediately was like, okay, well, we kind of need to do a different setup of the living room, like pushing furniture around, but was so apologetic about it. And I was like,
you're exposing me.
No, like I was like, no, like do whatever you need to do. And yet you did have that air of like, okay, like, you know, is everything okay? Is everything okay? That's me times 100. And I mean, I remember like even in college, this was just a few years ago, like if one person potentially didn't like me, it would keep me up at night. Like truly, I was like, oh God, how do I fix this? And now there are hundreds of thousands of people that do not like me. And I still sometimes can't sleep, but it, in a weird way, has been a blessing to sort of break that people-pleasing mentality.
Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Again, just all around disaster here for Bud Light, for everybody involved. And it just continues to get worse because now Bud Light stock has been downgraded. Now, I love this story. And the reason why I love this story is one, because Bud Light is doing so bad that the mainstream liberal media has now been forced to acknowledge that it's bad. Okay. If you look up Bud Light boycott, Bud Light sales, mainstream liberal media outlets are admitting that, hey, this is bad. Okay. Because initially, people thought that conservatives did not have the cojones to actually stick through with this boycott. In fact, I told you guys when this first came out, Wall Street was basically telling investors, hey, look, y'all should buy Anheuser-Busch. Okay, buy Anheuser-Busch. This boycott is not going to last for long. Any decline in the stock is temporary. We don't think that it's actually going to have a long-term impact. It's not a big deal. Okay, so they actually were betting against conservatives, right? They were betting against the boycott. And I told you guys, I said, you know, I think personally that this is only going to continue to get worse for Bud Light. And the reason why it's going to continue to get worse for Bud Light is because people are going to catch on to the stigma that is now associated with drinking Bud Light. People, when they go out in public and they order a Bud Light, they're automatically going to be judged. People are going to think things about them because they are drinking Bud Light. And because beer is a product that has a whole lot of substitutes, it's going to be really hard for Anheuser-Busch to fix a brand that has been tainted. Okay? There's too many substitutes out there. I mean, you even had Chicago gay bars saying, look, we don't need to sell Anheuser-Busch products at all. Okay? They're boycotting because Anheuser-Busch has not come out and stood with the influencer, right, that they sponsored. They have not stood in lockstep with that person. So they're boycotting. But the fact that they felt the need to just get rid of all Anheuser-Busch products tells you that, again, beer has a lot of substitutes, right? We don't have to sell your brand when we have so many other selections that can be sold that we can use and probably still make money. It's a very fascinating business case. It really is. And like I told you guys, if this boycott continues, eventually you're going to see it show up in the stock price, right? Because initially the stock had dropped a little bit and then it recovered. It went up and people were like, see, the boycott's not working. Anheuser-Busch's stock is still up. And I'm like, no. You guys got to understand. Stock price only represents investors' sentiment at the time, right? It doesn't actually represent sale or performance or anything like that. It's just what Wall Street believes at the time. And now we're starting to see that Wall Street is admitting that, you know what, this boycott actually is working, that Anheuser-Busch is in serious trouble. So I actually want to read about this, okay? We're going to read about it from the mainstream liberal media because it's just so much better when you hear the media, the mainstream liberal media, admit that this is a problem. So let's read about it. Bud Light sales have dwindled and its stock has become downgraded in a continuing fallout since the popular beer ran a promotion with a transgender influencer last month. Parent company Anheuser-Busch InBev sold $71.5 million worth of Bud Light in a week ending April 29th, a 23% drop compared to a year ago. According to data from Bump Williams Consulting, Bud Light sales totaled $31.5 million that same week, down roughly 11%, the firm said. Sales of other Anheuser-Busch brands, including Michelob Ultra, Busch Light, and Natural Light, have also taken a hit. That's led Wall Street analysts to call the episode a crisis and downgrade the company's stock to hold in a note Thursday. analyst at HSBC said the Bud Light sales slump might be worse than reported, and that beverage distributors are considering distancing themselves from the brand. Okay, so again, this is exactly what I said in one of my last videos about this topic. I said, yeah, the stock price right now may not be tanking, but can you imagine if you have a 25+% decrease in sales that holds up over months, right? Do you think that the stock price is going to stay up? You think investors are going to continue to invest in a company that is losing a fourth of their sales, or at least U.S. sales? Okay, we don't necessarily know how this is affected, but like globally per se, but U.S. sales, which again is a major market, yeah, you're going to see people start to sell off, right? You're going to start to see people say, you know what, we might need to stay away from this stock. Again, people got to understand, a lot of this stuff has to be done over time, right? And this is what I said from the beginning. I was like, no, this has to hold out for months in order for you to actually see a real effect. And it's happening, right? It is happening because this boycott has been going strong for a month now. Now you're seeing Wall Street, who initially said, no, we're going to bet against this. They're now saying, you know what? This is looking bad, right? These people actually got cojones. Quote, the way this Bud Light crisis came about a month ago, management's response to it and the loss of unprecedented volume and brand relevance raises many questions, the analyst wrote. Citing beer marketers' insights, they said, quote, the trend of declining beer volumes is worsening and may be down more than 25% in April, while U.S. distributor relations appear to be at an all-time low. Quote, it is unclear how ABI will reverse eroding U.S. volume and brand relevance and fix distributors' trust without leadership changes, analysts said. Anheuser-Busch didn't immediately respond to a request for comment from CBS Money Watch. Yeah, so here's the thing. Basically what they're saying is that leadership change. The CEO should be fired, right? They basically said it's so bad that they may need to consider firing the CEO in order to fix things. Okay? Well, I will go back as far as to say that not only do they probably need to fire the CEO, but they need to issue a formal apology and honestly just pick a side, okay? Because they're going to have to, okay? They're going to have to pick a side. Like, this is what happens when companies go overtly woke, okay? When you get into politics, now you have to pick a side, which is why companies should stay out of politics. If you're not prepared to stick to your guns and to pick a side, then you should stay out of politics. What is happening to Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch is a lesson that a lot of these companies should pay attention to and realize that, you know what, maybe it's not worth going political, especially if our customer base is overwhelmingly conservative. We probably shouldn't be political, okay? And yeah, it's just fascinating to see that Wall Street now, when they first was betting against this boycott, they've now said, you know what, you might want to stay away, right, from this stock. Things are a disaster, okay, for Bud Light. It's kind of crazy to see the evolution of this. Again, probably one of the most successful boycotts that we've seen in a long time. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.